So, I'm making this video to sort of talk about safe defense and sort of like organize my own thoughts about what it means for Aether Raids, both on offense and defense. Because I think it's pretty interesting. Just as a preface, I do have a lot of these thrones. Not the maximum, but I've been in Vault of Heaven ever since it came out, so I think I'm pretty familiar on what goes around. So I guess as just like a demonstration, this team, which is what I was running at the start of the week, I could beat it, but like it was a little tricky. Now I can sort of just break it wide open with something like Claude. Claude goes in,
What's this?
kills Note, removes the Pathfinder, and then gravities everything around him, and then I can just dance back. And the team will not aggro because I'm outside the safety range, or I'm outside the danger range. Alternatively, you can use safe defense by actually aggroing the team on turn 1,
Sure thing.
and then just moving out of the range so that they overextend. I actually don't know what happens with my team. Oh. Well, on other teams you can bait them to overextend and clean up afterwards, but you know, I didn't really put a lot of thought into this one. But the point is, offense always gets the first move now. And that's pretty big, because it is a strict buff to Aether Raid's offense. Every other strategy stays the same, you know, like tanking. Gale Force gets buffed, actually, and Hit and Run gets buffed. So the biggest things that come to my mind are Legendary Claude that I just demonstrated. Stuff like Ninja Lin, which everyone has a free copy of. Everyone can get a free copy of Disarm Trap, is still really good. A little bit less so because of dual building. Stuff like Legendary Leaf is super good because of his Neuron Zeal, the self Gale Force. All of these ranged units get a lot better now because you can just go in, snipe a unit, and then dance back out, and then think about how to clean up from there. But what I think will happen, and I'll go into this a little bit later, is that people will start using Far Save on defense. Far Save just like trying to counter these hit and run ranged units. Which is why I think that the melee Gale Force units will also become really strong on offense, because most people are not going to be using near save, at least not yet. Far save is a lot more applicable in most situations because it's a lot easier to snipe with a ranged unit than it is with a melee unit. So that'll be stuff like, where is she? Regan, which everyone has a free copy of. Regan is a really strong hit and run unit with the Sather Shell. You can give her attack speed solo or death blow or something like that to get the one shot and Kanto out. Kanto is super strong. Kanto is just so broken in every iteration of Fire Emblem. It's kind of funny. People have been tossing around. Where is she? People have been tossing around Nyla. Because she can run Gale Force and she also has the gravity on her preference skill. I'm a little bit hesitant on Nyla because at the end of the day she is an infantry melee unit, so she doesn't have as much range as the cavalry units, and just her stat spread is just so outdated. But I don't know, I might be wrong about that. The one that comes to mind is Eliwood, not this Eliwood, because I don't have base Eliwood, but it's base Eliwood that becomes really strong. He was already strong before on offense, but now having a free turn to do whatever he wants just makes him so good. Special fighter, steady impact on the Blazing Durandal Gale Force is super good. I think we'll be seeing a lot more Ellie Woods on offense. Ellie Wood is Ellie good. And pivoting over in terms of defense, I think the turn 1 movement teams, like the Restore Trap, the 7th Dance Unit, Winter Bernie, those are dead. Basically dead. Because turn 1 teams just don't move anymore. They just don't move. Turn 1 teams have now turned into turn 2 teams, which now they can be sort of salvaged if you just replace a unit with Farsave. If you have a Farsave unit that protects your like your Bernie or your 7th unit from the snipes, from the ranged snipes, then you can feasibly still preserve that strategy and have them move on turn 2. So that might be an adaptation coming out from defense. I don't think you should be putting your safety fence in the middle because you're just asking to get catapulted. I think people will start using catapult a lot more. Catapult along with Duma to just destroy buildings. That was strong before. It's still going to be strong now. I'm going to be using mine here for now. I might even move mine over here just because I already have open space in the middle that I already use. So I don't need it to be in the middle. What else? For defense, threat range is still super important. So let me just demonstrate with the Claude again. If I smite Claude up and then retreat to safety.
Let's go.
Maybe what should I do? Good morning.
If I do this sloppy turn 1, I still face the question of what to do on turn 2. Do I retreat? If I retreat, then I risk being barreled over by these large threat range cavalry. I could try to snipe some more. I think I'm gonna try to retreat for now.
Maybe
Let's go.
Just you try. Yes.
But now all these cavs are gonna come at me. And it's the question of what do I do from here? In this case, it's not that hard. I can snipe here. I can do this. But a properly built team will still have a very threatening turn 2 or turn 3, which I think makes it so that the top tier teams actually aren't as damaged as one would think from the safety fence. I think if you have the proper follow-up, which you should have, then it's still going to be tricky, even with a free snipe from the turn 1. Which is why I was talking about, maybe people start putting Farsave on their units to sort of prevent the Claudes from coming out. I don't think people should be doing both near and Farsave, because that sort of is asking to get AoE'd, asking to get bolt towered, and I just don't think that the threat range is enough to justify doing it. Some teams the Bridal Catria teams are just completely unaffected. Bridal Catria teams already use Farsave to protect their Catria, and they're super hard to engage on. With proper trap placement, proper building placement, the safety fence doesn't really matter for those teams. So I think the adaptation coming out from most people is going to be, this is my old team, this is what team I'm going to now, just putting more buildings up in the front and moving traps to protect your frontline units. I might even move this trap over here. If you can deter the hit and run, then you being hurt by the safety fence is going to be lessened a little bit. I'm sure this is still doable. Ninja Lin with the disarm trap can still snipe Nana or snipe Note, and then get danced out. It doesn't matter if you have to duel's hindrance. But any team where it's difficult to engage on, whether it be tanking a lot of big nukes, or there's maybe it's far save, maybe it's just like hard to get into melee range. Any one of those teams is going to be strong going forward. Overall, I don't actually think safety fence is a bad change. Like, I've been seeing lots of knee-jerk reactions. It's like, oh, this is stupid. This just nerfs defense way too much. I don't think that's true. It's going to be a meta shift overall, but I actually think, and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I actually think that safety fence is pretty interesting. It's not like the sack meta before, which just promoted bad play. You could just have a unit die and you don't care. This safety fence, it promotes turn one play. It promotes proactive play. It promotes thinking about what you're going to do. And I think that is super good. I think that's super interesting. I think that trying to account for that on defense is going to be a challenge as well. And yes, this is offense favored. This does sort of, bring the balance back into the offense's hands, with stuff like Legendary Sigurd, people complaining a lot about that. I think it doesn't kill those teams. I don't think it kills them. IS has been doing this over and over, where they just keep selling broken units that people start complaining about on the defense. I mentioned Sigurd. There's Bridal Catria. There's like all those, heavy hitting defense mythics like Note, Brammy. And then they just keep giving free things to the offense, to the player playing into those teams. That makes it easier. At first it was Escape Ladder, and then it was the free Peony, then it was the free Regan, and then the unpenalized sacrifices. Like, IS keeps giving these tools to make offense easier for the player, because at the end of the day, if people are too uninterested in playing into these teams, they'll just quit, and that's bad for IS, because the free-to-play population needs to be maintained to sustain the game. And the safety fence is just like the latest attempt to make offense strong enough, to give enough agency in the player's hands so that people are interested. I think this is an interesting change. Proactive play on turn one is a good thing. There will come more broken units. You can bet your money that there will be more broken units that people will complain about and put on the defense. And I think that, eventually this will probably be upgradable to turn 2, turn 3, and then IS will sort of dial the knob and sort of increase the power of the offense to compensate for these new broken units that come out. And, that's just about wraps it up for my thoughts. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm just wrong about everything. Let me know. Check out my defense replays too. I'd like that. Thanks.